Hello and welcome to Perception and Culture. My name is Barbara Cooper. I'm a Colorado Christian University student studying psychology under the instruction of Dr. Sean Talbot in social psychology at the moment. The topics of discussion will include web-based social cognition, how we perceive ourselves and others, how differences vary across cultures, a summary of the American culture, geological content, and worldviews, and the Aboriginal cultures in the Arctic region, specifically the Inuit cultural traditions and beliefs, and what the future holds for the Arctic cultures. What is web-based social cognition? Web-based social cognition is first impressions of others through media in the cyber world, such as Facebook. Our self-concepts are formed in personal characteristics that reflect on others. How do they perceive us? How do we perceive them? As we define our roles and positions in life, our social cognition is very important to interpersonal relationships with others. It allows us to be personally distinctive when socializing with others as well as them with us. When we perceive others, we often wonder, how smart are you? How trustworthy are you? How do I compare to them? This is constituted as social perception. They are also thinking the exact same thing about us. It can be one-dimensional or multidimensional. And what that means is we are describing how we think we are, or the person how they think they are. This is part of self-esteem and self-perception of others. For example, when we're involved in a situation where we're trying to impress someone that we first meet, we tend to display motivation to either encourage the other person's perception of us, or we withdraw and not try to impress them at all. What does that say about us? What are they thinking? When differences vary across cultures, it's natural. We all have different ideas. We've all been handed down from generations and generations of traditions, beliefs, and that affects how we perceive others and how they perceive us. Some cultures demonstrate socioconcentric tendencies, others egocentric. When researchers March in 1983 expressed the consistent feature of self-esteem and self-concept appears as a multifaceted experience, it changes the situation, the mood, and the memories of the individual. As we compare our own attitudes, opinions, characteristics, and abilities of others, this leaves the perception memory in the other person as well as ourselves. In the American culture, we have a very diverse set of people in the United States. They bring their own traditions, their own religions, their beliefs, their morals. In hand, we become a community. We learn from each other. Some have low self-esteem, some have high self-esteem. It's a motive for behavior that can be either harmful or threatening. Do we see these people as harmful and threatening? The majority would say yes. When an individual has high self-esteem, It helps them build a response to trauma in more healthy manners than a person with low self-esteem. Understanding that self-esteem is very significant and indicative of both positive and negative behavior in social worlds depends on the level of fragile or defense self-esteem opposed to optimal levels of self-esteem. However, when raising these levels, it doesn't generally relate to positive social outcomes. It may lead to negative outcomes such as aggression and racism, which is seen in most countries and most cultures. The quick facts in America: we are a North American region. Our capital is Washington, D.C. And as of 2017, we have currently at least 324,700 people, which I tend to believe that it may be a little bit more. Our climate is seasonal. We have 4 seasons. We are on Pacific Mountain Central or Eastern Time. And our primary language is English. American views are very diverse. Some people display egocentric attitudes, self-serving tendencies. Other people are humble. In society, we tend to demonstrate whether we want to be socially active or not. The highest value is placed on freedom and equality for all human beings. Our spiritual traditions are usually handed down from generation to generation. Some people currently believe their own religious aspects. Some people have lost it. Prisoners in jail are facing the reality that they must learn about religion, which should not be forced upon anyone. The culture I've chosen is in the Greenlandic region, called the Kalalit Nunaat, which translates to land of the people. Social customs and attitudes bring on quite the tension from the cold and isolated areas. However, the Inuit cultures have a genuine affection for the land they live on. It is a part of their identity. An interesting fact is when children are growing up, the ancestors have wisdom, and the tribe allows the children to talk with the ancestors for survival instinct methods. They include magic and intelligence from spiritual guidance. However, they do display rituals that are practiced quite frequently, giving thanks to the bears, the whales, and other creatures that have been slain. The traditions and beliefs of the Inuit begin with their original migration from Siberia to Alaska, through North America, and then finally to Greenland around the 13th century. They follow a moral code based on family, community, and ancient myths or legends. They settle around coastal areas purposely so they can hunt and fish and feed their families. However, the weather is unpredictable. The territory has become dangerous and unstable, and more glaciers are melting every summer. As you can see on the left, we have one of the shaman who is singing, or I'm sorry, praying, healing the land. In conclusion, the future of the Greenlandic Aboriginal people is changing. More families are working in contemporary roles to provide food for their family. Depletion of natural resources is at risk. Pollution is creating Arctic haze that contaminates plants, foods, and wildlife. Women are beginning to lose their traditional values, their traditional skills, and the future shows a higher increase of awareness of the rights of the Aboriginal people in Greenland, with advocates finally speaking up and environmental protection agencies. Thank you, and please enjoy the music video.